March 3rd, 2017 to order. Did it say March 3rd?
Right, it's for amending that.
March 3rd to order. Ms. Novak, please read roll call.
Jose Rosario.
Here.
Taylor Dane.
Here.
Gloria Cepeda. Here. Thomas Lehman.
Here.
Patrick Hurd.
Here.
David Holden Steers.
Here.
Leandro Alvarez.
Here.
Jeremy Booten. Luisa DeVidio. Here. Gabriella Enright. Here. Shane Inman.
Here.
Vanessa Ruggieri. Scott Kane.
Here.
Michelle Brophy-Behrman. Here. Alan Salemi.
Here.
Nicholas Lima.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now move on to item 2, approval of the agenda. I am seeking motion to approve today's agenda. Motion from Secretary Cepeda, second from Treasurer Lima. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Deputy Speaker Steers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to make a friendly amendment to the agenda, changing the meeting of March 3rd, 2017 to the meeting of March 1st, 2017.
Is there any objection to this amendment being accepted as friendly? Hearing no objection, the agenda is amended. Is there any further discussion on the agenda? Secretary Cepeda.
I would like to make a motion to strike item 6A from the agenda. The reason being that the Constitution was tabled to committee and it hasn't been discussed at the committee yet, so it shouldn't be on the agenda now.
Second that motion.
Motion from Secretary Cepeda, second from Treasurer Lima. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of striking item 6, Constitution and Organization Conference Reports, item A, Apex Constitution, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? Know that the item is striked and the agenda is amended. Representative DeVidio.
Can I suggest a friendly amendment to item 8, new business, or rather 9, I'm sorry, new business? Can I add a B for an update from my Student Choice Awards Committee?
Motion from Representative DeVidio, second from Secretary Cepeda. Is there any discussion on this motion, this amendment? Hearing no discussion, move to a vote. All in favor of adding item B to item 9, new business, with update on Student Choice Awards ceremony, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? Know that the agenda is amended. Is there any further discussion on the agenda? Hearing no further discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? With that, today's agenda is approved as amended. We'll now move on to item 3, approval of the minutes of February 8th, 2017. I'm seeking motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Motion from President Rosario. Second from Representative Alvarez. Is there any discussion on the meeting minutes of February 8th, 2017? Hearing no discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of February 8th, 2017, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And with that, the minutes of February 8th, 2017 are approved. Now move on to item 4, open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Is there anyone here for open forum? Is there anyone here for open forum? With nobody here for open forum and no one on the list for open forum, I declare the open forum period closed. We'll now move on to item 5, officers' announcements. Item A, President Rosario.
Hello everyone, I have 2 announcements today. First, I'd like to welcome our staff rep, Alan Salemi. And my second announcement is, if you have not joined one college and one SCG committee, make sure you do so by the end of the week. So that means 3 p.m. on Friday, or your stipend might be revoked. So please make sure that you are following procedure. That concludes my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, Vice President Dane.
I'm still looking for people to join the PR committee and the elections commission. If you're interested in either of those things, please come see me. That's all I have.
Thank you. Secretary Cepeda.
Hi everyone, so today I had my first roundtable for the spring semester. Not as many organizations as I wish would have attended did attend, but there was good discussion with all the organizations there, and I got some feedback as to how I can make it easier for them to attend, so I'm going to try having 2 roundtables the week of a roundtable at 2 different times, so that at 2 different days, that way more people get the opportunity to go, because most of the people that showed up to today's at 5 o'clock had never been to one of the ones that I held during free period. They were very happy I had moved it, because usually they meet with their clubs during free period. Also, all the program evaluations were due back in the office yesterday for the Stories nomination process. So the nomination ballots will be in organization mailboxes Friday evening. I let them know, and they'll also get an email telling them that they're there, and they'll be due back on Friday, March 17th. We changed the way people nominate because before they weren't basing it off the nomination list, and some organizations were writing in events that hadn't been nominated. So now it's just going to be a check the box process where you check who should be nominated, and then we'll get their voting ballots after that. Other than that, I have seats open on stock if anyone would like to join. There are permanent seats open, and we're going through planning stories, so it would be great to have some more people on there. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Item D, Treasurer Lima.
I have 2 open seats on finance, all members. Hopefully, I have one of you who's looking for committee to joins finance, and as Parliament grows throughout the year, hopefully we can fill that commission. Aside from that, the budget process, we had the budget hearings, and I can report on that. It was intense. It was an intensive process for the commission, for their work and overtime in the cutting phase. Unfortunately, a lot of clubs kind of over-budgeted on what our anticipated revenue for next year will be for SCG. SCG doesn't budget out more than 90% of the sewer activity fee it expects to take it through the budget process, so we have to make some cuts to organizations, but they'll have the opportunity for the non-satisfied meeting to plead their case for their money. They would like more money or move money around. Sometimes an organization might be unsatisfied or not satisfied, and it's just they want to move money around differently. But sometimes they are asking for more money. The satisfied meetings are, again, it's a Parliament meeting, March 29th, and the unsatisfied follow April 5th, and will be joined by the non-Parliament members of the Finance Commission then. So, the satisfied meetings, the club representatives will not be there. It's just approving recommendations by the Finance Commission. The unsatisfied meetings can be hectic at times, depending on the year and how many unsatisfied clubs that there are. That meeting might be long, so prepare yourself for that. And if anyone has any questions about the budget process, they can speak to me after the meeting or contact me during my office hours. And that concludes my announcements.
Thank you. And I'll move on to item E, Speaker Gerd. I have several leaves. Alumni Representative Lima writes, please put in a late leave for me meeting with Mayor right now. And he's speaking about the Mayor of Cranston, Alan Funk. I'm seeking a motion to approve his late leave. Motion from Vice President Dane, second from Representative Alvarez. Is there any discussion on this late leave? Hearing no discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of approving Alumni Representative Lima's late leave, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? Deputy Speaker Sears abstains. With that, the late leave is approved. My next leave is from Representative Booten. He writes, unfortunately, I cannot make this week's student parliament meeting due to the fact that I have to prepare for 3 exams this week. Thank you, Jeremy Booten. I'm seeking a motion to approve his leave. Motion from Representative Davidio, second from Vice President Dane. Is there any discussion on this leave? Hearing no discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of approving Representative Booten's leave, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And with that, the leave is approved. My next leave is from Dr. King. He writes, I am requesting a retroactive leave for the Parliament meeting of Wednesday, February 8th. I went home sick early that day and did not have the opportunity to inform the Speaker. I would not be able to attend that meeting. I'm seeking a motion to approve his retroactive leave. Motion from President Rosario, second from Vice President Dane. Is there any discussion on this retroactive leave? Hearing no discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of approving Dr. Kane's retroactive leave for February 8th, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? Dr. King abstains. With that, the leave is approved. The retroactive leave is approved. My next leave is from Representative Ruggieri. She writes, "Good morning, I'm requesting a leave from the meeting tonight, March 1st. I unfortunately have to go. Sincerely, Vanessa Ruggieri." I'm seeking a motion to approve for leave. Motion from Treasurer Lima, second from Secretary Cepeda. Is there any discussion on this leave? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to a vote. All in favor of approving Representative Ruggieri's leave, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And with that, Vanessa Ruggieri's leave is approved. Besides leaves, regarding that email about bylaws, the urgent matter that we need people on bylaws for, it's no longer an issue, but I would still love to have people on bylaws. I have 3 Parliament seats open on bylaws, so if any of you are interested in joining bylaws for any future issues that may arise, or any further amendments to the bylaws of SCG Inc., you can talk to me and talk to President Rosario about joining. And that's all for my announcements. And now we've gone to item F, Deputy Speaker Alden Sears.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have a couple of Parliament seats open on the Commissions and Services Committee. I believe we have 4 Parliament seats. Also, we're supposed to be meeting a week after break. This Wednesday after break. It's been a little bit of a struggle trying to find a place to book it, as the entire student union is booked that Wednesday during the free period, so we're finding some space in Donovan. Whoever's interested, let me know afterwards. Also, just wanted to say how alarmed I am looking around the room and seeing so many seats, and I understand we do have some leaves, but even if they were here, it's still alarmingly low number. And to echo our esteemed colleague, Alumni Representative Lima, if each of us bring in even one person, I mean, that's going to double the amount of people in the room. So I very much, I like to develop a sense of urgency in everybody to try to bring in at least one person. Everyone knows somebody. This is Rhode Island, it's a small state. Everyone knows somebody somehow, so try to bring in somebody and start seeing some bigger numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move on to item 6, reports. Item A, Finance Commission meeting minutes of February 8th, 2017 and February 15th, 2017. Treasurer Lima.
At these meetings, we saw a lot of, again, conference requests, things that happen every year. We saw a lot of requests for events that happen annually or every semester, attendance and reallocations as well, including one for SCG for the inauguration week. With that being said, if anyone has a question, talk about them in discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve these minutes.
Motion from Treasurer Lima, second from Deputy Speaker Alden Sears. Is there any discussion on these meeting minutes? Here, no discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes of February 8th, 2017 and February 15th, 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And that the finance meeting minutes are approved. We'll now move on to item 7, old business. Item A, DACA resolution. President Rosario.
So hello everyone, so at the last meeting we tabled this resolution out of fear that it could start in a non-public status until the lawyer reviewed it. He has reviewed it and this is the resolution that he put forth in his language, so I'll read it. Whereas City Community Government Incorporated believes that every student has the potential to contribute to our campus regardless of immigration status. Whereas the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals policy provides protection from deportation. Whereas SCG understands that Rhode Island College serves undocumented students and will not ask students to self-identify as such. Whereas there are students at RIC who have expressed support of DACA and that absent such legislation, their safety and education could be threatened. Be it therefore resolved that Student Parliament supports the position of the University of Rhode Island promoting DACA protection for our students in testimony before the Post-Secondary Council of Higher Education. Be it further resolved that SCG will support the rights and privileges of all students on the Rhode Island College campus. We acknowledge that we are voices of the student body, regardless of race, ethnicity, natural origin, or immigration status.
Thank you. So motion from President Rosario, second from Secretary Cepeda. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Secretary Cepeda.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to the 4th whereas
state your point.
I believe it would read correctly if it said, and that the absence of
That's not a point of order.
drugs.
It's not a parliamentary procedure. Secretary Spade.
Just give me 1 second to reread. Yes, okay, I'd like to continue with the friendly amendment and that the absence of such legislation.
Is there any objection to this amendment being accepted as friendly? Hearing no objection, the amendment is accepted. Secretary Spade. Is there any further discussion of this resolution as amended? Vice President Dane.
Perhaps someone could tell me. So the University of Rhode Island, is that the university itself or is it the student government of the university? And they're going before the post-secondary council to advocate on behalf of DACA? What I'm understanding from this.
State your point.
Finish.
I don't know if anyone from SCG has pushed Rick, the college itself, to do the same.
Point of information.
Please state your point.
So this resolution is saying that we're going to support the University of Rhode Island Student Senate that is going in front of the Post-Secondary Council of Higher Education. However, both the president of URI and the president of Rhode Island College are aware that we've been discussing this and seem to be in favor of this resolution.
Thank you. Vice President Dane.
So then perhaps we should change the resolution to read University of Rhode Island State Student Senate rather than the University of Rhode Island, seeing as it's not the university itself, but rather the Senate. And, I guess I would like to make that amendment as well.
Is there any objection to this amendment being accepted as friendly? Hearing no objection, the amendment is accepted. Vice President Dane.
That's all I have.
Is there any further discussion on this resolution? Hearing no further discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of approving the DACA support resolution as amended, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? Deputy Speaker Sears abstains. With that, the resolution is approved. Now move on to item B, Groove Boston update. Vice President Dane.
So, as it stands right now, we are waiting on a couple of co-sponsorship contracts from RSA, Anchor, and Anchor TV. We currently have co-sponsorship contracts for Groove Boston with WXIN and programming. Additionally, I have volunteer contracts here for anyone who's interested in taking one. We would ask that student organizations send us a couple volunteers of those who might want to attend Groove Boston, and by helping out, they could go for free, I believe. So that's nice. Of course, you have to help. So from 12 to 4 from the load-in time, or from 11 to 2:30 a.m. at the load-out time. The tickets are on sale as we speak. They are $12 for RIC students and $15 for everyone else. Other people from outside RIC are allowed to attend, and I encourage you to bring people in. SCG is attempting to put ads in the papers of the various other universities and colleges around the state. However, it's very hard to contact these people. Our student newspaper is much better about it. Here. Other than that, I have nothing else to say unless anyone has any questions for me.
Is there any discussion? Secretary Spade.
Just to clarify that it's open to any other college students, so if you want to buy a ticket, you have to bring your college ID with you. And you have to be over the age of 18. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Representative Inman.
Do we know what the total cost of Groove Boston has been at this point?
Is there anyone who can answer this kind of information?
I can. Originally, student government request back in September was for $42,000. 10,000 was for venue money, the rest of performer money, and then programming today actually was approved for $29,000 with an escrow money to go towards that $42,000. slight increase from previous years, but has been spent on Route Boston. I think they went with the medium package, more lights, there's more additional money for security in there as well.
Representative Newman.
Thank you.
President Rosario.
So just to add on to Treasurer Lima's point, the reason why we went with the medium package is for the first time in I believe about 5 years, we're allowing non-rich students to attend the event with the college ID, which in theory would increase the population. We hope would at least double what we would typically see at a New Boston Day.
Is there any further discussion on the Group Boston update? All right, we move on to item 8, new business. Item A, Title IX resolution. Representative DeVideo.
So, as I hope some of you are aware, last week, President Trump rescinded, he didn't change any laws, and he didn't enact any new legislation, but he did rescind the previous guidance of the Obama administration that more or less informed school districts that the way that the administration was interpreting the law, they were interpreting it to cover the sex discrimination to cover transgender students. Once again, the Trump administration officially rescinded that guidance, meaning that states and school districts are now welcome to change policies or enact policies within their own schools in whatever way they see fit. So I wrote an article about this as well, so I have a bunch of details, but as I'm sure you all know, transgender individuals are a very at-risk population. Just 41, this is just 41% of them will in their lifetime attempt suicide, which is 9 times the national average. 20% of them at some point will be homeless in their lives, and 50% will experience sexual violence, and 50% will be rejected by their families. So I thought this was an important resolution for the body to stand behind, and it reads as such. Whereas we believe transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming students are guaranteed the same protections all students have from discrimination under Title IX. Whereas access to safe restrooms is an important and common sense transgender rights issue. And be it therefore resolved, we will continue to support, acknowledge, and protect transgender students' rights under Title IX. Be it therefore resolved, we will advocate for more unisex and non-binary restrooms at Rhode Island College. And just as an aside, transgender students are not unisex, but making unisex bathrooms available targets, making them more available targets some of the problem. Transgender people deserve to use the restrooms that they identify, whatever gender they identify with, though they often do not feel comfortable doing so. In addition, they are more likely to experience physical threats of violence as well as actual violence when they attempt to use the restrooms that they would like to. In addition, making unisex bathrooms more widely available is just sort of, again, a common sense, sort of essential protection that is very easy to have on a college campus.
So there's a motion from Representative DeVideo. I'm seeking a second to approve the resolution. Second from President Rosario. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Secretary Spada.
So I have a friendly amendment to the end of the first two whereases and the first be it further is therefore resolved. Instead of commas at the end of each sentence is semicolons since there are no ands after. So after each end of the first two whereases and the first be it therefore resolved, semicolon instead of commas.
It's a friendly amendment. Is there any objection to this amendment being accepted as friendly? Hearing no objection, the amendment is accepted as friendly. Secretary Spada.
I would also like to change the language of the first whereas, but I need some help with the wording, just because common sense can be taken more as an opinion. I was thinking something along the lines to access to safe restrooms is a basic human necessity, so they should be accessible. So I'd like to make an amendment to change the wording for the second whereas to read, whereas access to safe restrooms is a basic human
objection, the amendment is accepted as friendly. Secretary Spita.
That's all I have.
Vice President Dane.
Okay, so I believe Rhode Island state law, gender identification is a protected class in Rhode Island. So we are very lucky in that regard. However, it is troubling what the federal government is doing, so this is a good resolution. I would also, perhaps Dr. Kane could tell us when they redo Craig Lee in the upcoming year, if they could, if they have any plans to do unisex bathrooms in that building when they redo it. I think it's probably a good idea to put them in there, seeing as that's something that's being done soon. Also, I'm not sure, but maybe again Dr. Kane could answer this. If the college has made any statements in regards to this, I know when the immigration was an issue, they released an email to the entire campus. I don't remember receiving an email about this particular issue, but I think it would be good if maybe the college could address it in some way. And that's all I have.
Dr. Kane.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see. First of all, new construction on campus, or construction on campus of facilities, buildings, will include gender-neutral bathrooms in all of the construction projects. Is that the same as unisex bathrooms?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that there's, even I'm not up on all of the language. I have spoken to the Associate Vice President for Community Equity and Diversity regarding this, the exact issue that you raised, Treasurer or Vice President Kane, with respect to what sort of conversations, communications do we want to have about that? So we're in the process of talking about that. So those are those two questions. I had a question myself about now how the second whereas reads. Could somebody help me with that?
I'll read it for the record.
Thank you.
Whereas access to safe restrooms is a basic human necessity, semicolon.
Oh, and then what does it say?
Then it just continues with be it therefore resolved.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. And then my last question was to Representative Video. Did you have any conversations with the Title IX coordinator about this resolution beforehand?
No, I did it over the weekend.
That's okay. Oh, what do you mean you did? You did this over the weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that she's, gets a copy of it now and that sort of stuff. So that'll be a good starting point for us. Thank you.
Thank you. President Rosario.
Two things, to respond to your point, I have been in contact with Peggy Lynch about different LGBTQ plus resources that we need on the campus, so I'd be happy to forward this to her.
Okay.
And also I want to commend Representative DeVito because this is why we're here, to be the voice of the student body, and this is a very important issue to a lot of our students. I'm really glad that you brought this to our attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this resolution as amended? Hearing no further discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor of approving the Title IX resolution as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? With that, the resolution is approved. Now move on to new business item B, student choice ceremony, Representative Video.
Okay, so on a lighter note, the Student Choice Awards Committee has begun its full-fledged ad campaign to gather student responses. So about 2.5 weeks ago, we made a survey live to the campus. We've mainly been distributing it through social media. We have almost 50 responses at this point, so we're getting a good number of responses from the students. I have 2 seats open still. I have 2 non-parliament seats open, but the rest of them should be shortly filled. And so we have our advertising up and ready, our survey up and ready. This week we are working on details for the event itself, which will be April 18th from 8:30 until 10:30, if all goes to plan. We're still working out the details through finance and the Dartmouth Dining Center. So the next, so we've, again, just been gathering responses through social media. So hopefully the next step in the advertising campaign will be targeting specific populations on campus. So we might do some paper handouts, on the pod or something, or up in the student union building. And then we'll also be looking at who precisely has been nominated already and seeing if they might all be arts and sciences professors instead of like a good cross-section of the campus. So we'll be trying to go and target specific pockets, like the nursing center, which, I almost never see nursing students, so we're going to try to travel over there and get some of their feedback. But if anybody has any questions or ideas or comments or concerns, I'd be happy to answer them.
Is there any discussion? Secretary Speed.
So since it's in the morning, is it going to be breakfast or like snacks or coffee?
Sure. So the original idea for the ceremony itself was to be sort of something similar to the Student Leadership Award ceremony, like either an afternoon or an evening sit-down dinner where we present the awards, all the awardees and nominees are invited. But because there's so many events that week that are so similar to what we're doing, there's the Student Leadership Awards, the Storgies are right around that time, not the same week. And they're all like evening ceremonies. I didn't want to step on anyone's toes or like have ceremonies at the same time. And I want to sort of make it its own thing. So we're doing a morning ceremony that's a breakfast buffet, but it's going to be a little nicer. It's not just going to be like scrambled eggs and bacon. And it will be more or less like a come and go as you like type of ceremony. And we're actually going to try to distribute or get photos of the nominees and awardees the weeks prior to it, so that we can either present them with an award at the ceremony and they can just stop in with their class or something, or just have a slideshow of the professors in their classrooms and the staff in their offices with their students. So it'll be a little more of a casual event because again, that time of year too is super busy, so people are, sort of around the final week.
Is there any further discussion? Secretary Speed.
I would suggest possibly just to be cost effective, maybe having the breakfast just for the nominees, that and maybe the nominators, and then opening up the actual ceremony where you're presenting the awards to everyone, and maybe some snacks for that, so people would come and see them receiving the awards. Just a thing, because it might be awkward to have like a breakfast buffet and people just come and go over that. So it would also give them like a private time to talk to each other as colleagues about, what they do that made them stand out.
Is there any further discussion? With no further discussion, we move on to item 9, updates and remarks. Item A, administration update, Dr. Scott Kane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a few things. First of all, I want to thank Student Community Government Parliament for their participation in the President's Inauguration Week, all of the different activities from the community event day in the rec center on Sunday through the student showcase and even attending on Friday night the inauguration gala. It was a great showing by all of you guys. And, so thank you for helping to make that a special occasion for him. I'm sure he appreciates students being involved probably more than anybody else. And this week, I guess this week and next week, you may know that the President is continuing his listening tour. He's already had a couple of sessions on Monday and Tuesday night or around dinner time. The first Monday, I think, was on the topic of inclusive excellence, is, going through his 5 pillars. Last night was on student success. Tomorrow, it's in the morning, and it's on institutional effectiveness. It's at 7 to 8:30 a.m. If anybody can make that early in the faculty center south. And then I think there are 2 more. I'm pretty sure they're next week. I just want to check my schedule here. Yeah, on Monday it's learning innovation at 4:30 to 6, and then on Tuesday the 7th. It's on community partnerships again, 4:30 to 6. They're all in the faculty center south. So, if maybe you can work amongst yourselves to sort of divvy up who can attend the various sessions and, either contribute or even just to hear all of the ideas that are being talked about. So that you can have a sense of what direction we might be going in the future. That would be great. I wanted to sort of let you all know that you may have heard about this before. Marissa Weiss, I think she was outside the ballroom during the student activities fair in the ballroom a few weeks ago, collecting feedback from students about the kinds of features they'd like to see in a mobile app for the college. We're currently exploring that possibility, but we want to get a lot of different input from, and we also want to get input from faculty as well, as far as what kinds of, push notifications would they be interested in features they'd be interested in to communicate with students and get information to students about important dates or deadlines or whatever the case may be. But just to kind of give you a broad overview of that process, once we get a sense of kind of where we're going to go, we're going to have to write an RFP to invite outside vendors to bid on providing us the mobile app. We're not going to build it ourselves. There's a lot of companies that already do this, and the company have worked out all of the bugs. So we just want to be able to know what to tell them that that we're going to be looking for. Once we get the bids, I suspect the next step of the process will be to ask the companies to provide us a demo of their product, what it can do, and to evaluate that by a committee, which I would like to get students involved in, student government in particular. So there'll be an opportunity, you can start thinking about it now. President Rosario can start maybe thinking about who you might like to have participate in that committee. What we'd like to get, when we do the actual evaluation and we do the selection of the company that's going to provide us that, we want to get, obviously we want to have students involved in that process. I want to just, I was going to mention, and now it's very appropriate given Vice President Dane's comment about Craig Lee. I think it might be worthwhile, maybe after spring break, middle of April sometime, to invite somebody into this committee or this group's meeting to talk a little bit about sort of the construction schedule on campus and kind of what's happening and when it's going to happen and what you can expect maybe over the next 6 months. For example, I'm not sure if people are aware, but campus police is scheduled to go down to the college apartments building near the entrance, the Mount Pleasant Avenue entrance, that building that sits sort of off the road. How many people knew that? A few. So, but there's those kinds of things that are happening. There's going to be a lot of moving parts here over the summer in particular, and it might be, worth your interest anyway to see what's happening and to provide some feedback on that. And then finally, a selfish topic, the campus shuttle. So by show of hands, can I see how many people take advantage, even if it's irregularly, of the campus shuttle? Few of you, okay. So let's see, how do I want to say this? So I think we're going to look to rebid the campus shuttle in the future, or maybe just try to decide about whether, sort of what form we want it to take place going forward in the future. I have, from my office, which sort of coordinates some of the shuttle runs, I have heard some feedback from students about the mobile app's not really working. You can't really GPS find out where it is, or it's not running out of time, or it's not stopping when train stops. And, I think you're probably going to get some of that with any company that you have provide the shuttle service, but I think we certainly want to have something that's reliable and dependable and is kind of meeting our needs. So that might be another one of those projects that we talked about and try to get student government's involvement in if we're going to rebid it and have other companies sort of make proposals about what they can provide us, get some students involved in that to make a decision about what we want. That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item B, faculty update. Dr. Michelle Brophy-Behrman.
Thank you. I just mentioned in terms of moving, since you brought that up, Dr. King, that, for instance, I found out just today we've had some moving coordinators come in. They're actually working for the college and they're coordinating the move. And those of us who are going over to Gage are going to be out. We think between graduation and I don't know what, because then there's summer sessions that come on. So this is going to be happening really rapidly. And I just wanted you to be aware of that. I'm not sure when the first classes will start there. It's not until fall or second session, but offices. The other thing I wanted to mention is, Bill, it's almost advising time, right? Registration opens, the general registration opens on April 3rd, Monday. And so I just always like to remind people to, if you're not being contacted by your advisors, to contact them and help remind them that you want to have an appointment at least a couple weeks before registration opens.
Thank you.
Just,
There's no discussion.
point of information.
Please state your point.
Oh, okay, no, is it point of inquiry?
Please state your question of
Was it
inquiry.
April 3rd or March 3rd for advice?
April 3rd for registration open. I think it's already open for summer classes, but you don't have to see advisors for that.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item C, staff update. Mr. Alan Salemi.
Thank everybody for the opportunity to serve on here again, bring me out of retirement. I was here probably 10 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. It's nice to be back again. I'm kind of confused though, we're used to, 4-hour meetings in those days, and it seems like I'll have to talk a lot longer when I get the regular time that I'm supposed to be up with that, but I'm trying to get an idea, see what's going on, how things are going. Some of the stuff that's been going on many years ago, and continuation, always trying to look through the memories even back then. We had more people, but they were still building things up, so good luck on trying to do that stuff. And I see some people I recognize, but I work at the recreation center as my full-time job, but I do some adjunct faculty work also, but I'm not sure if you guys are probably aware, but not seeing me, you're not taking advantage of the guarantee. At the recreation center, we have a guarantee. If you work out 3 times a week while you're a student, we guarantee you'll live to be 100. If you don't, come back and see us, we'll give you your money back. So we stand behind our product over there. So head up there and see what's going on, see what activities we have going on up there. I wish everybody safe and enjoyable spring break.
Thank you. Now move on to alumni update. Mr. Nicholas Lima. He is not in attendance. We now move on to item 10, appointments, resignations, and vacancies. President Rivard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First and foremost, I would like to announce a cabinet appointment. After interviewing, we will be appointing Brendan Melody to the Public Relations Director position for Sweet Community Government. I ask to be accepted. What am I asking?
Unanimous.
That's open, yes.
Is there any objection to this appointment being accepted with unanimous consent? Hearing no objection, the appointment is accepted.
I have the following expulsions from the Public Relations Committee. Mayor Montero, Tatiana Maurice, and Vanessa Guillon will be expelled from the Public Relations Committee. I ask that be accepted with unanimous consent and deep regret.
Is there any objection to these expulsions being accepted with unanimous consent and deep regret? Hearing no objection, these expulsions are accepted with unanimous consent and deep regret.
We now move on to appointments to committees and commissions. I will be appointing Representative DeVideo to the Bylaws and Education Commission. I will be appointing Brendan Melody to the PR seat on the Public Relations Committee, and Catherine Enos to a non-student parliament seat on the Public Relations Committee. I will be appointing Brendan Melody to the PR seat on the Ad Hoc Committee for Faculty and Staff Student Choice Ceremony. I will be appointing Brittany Donahue to the Library Advisory Committee. That concludes my appointments, but as I said earlier, in terms of vacancies, please make sure that you are on an SCG and college committee in order to follow policy and receive your stipend at the end of the semester.
Would you like a motion to approve those?
Yes, I motion to approve those appointments.
I'm seeking a second. Second from Secretary Cepeda. Is there any discussion on these appointments? Hearing no discussion, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving these appointments, please say aye. All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? And with that, the appointments are approved. Now move on to item 11, issues of Parliament members. Please raise your card if there is a topic you wish to discuss. President Rosario.
So something that I forgot to mention during my announcement, but it's very important and time sensitive. I'm looking for 2 students to serve on the search committee for the VP of Student Success and 1 student to serve on the search committee for the new college provost. Those appointments need to be made pretty quickly by tomorrow. So if you're interested in serving on one of these search committees, let me know. If you have a friend who you think would be interested, have them contact me between today and tomorrow.
Next on the list is Speaker Hurd. I have multiple things to talk about. The Student Union Advisory Board met today for the first time. The student representatives since 2 years ago. It's looking to get the Constitution back after it abolished it 2 years ago. We intend to have regular meetings. It'll be dictated by whatever guidelines we put in place of the Constitution or the Constitution itself. We'll be looking over that. Kristen Salemi talked about what issues the body, the board can do to make the student union any better from an advisory capacity. She mentioned a mobile app that would allow student clubs to put on a calendar their events and also keep track of their membership and keep in contact. Regarding that mobile app, I mentioned that we have students who are fully capable of designing and programming mobile apps. And in fact, we've had a topics class in computer science titled Mobile App Development. If you have students do it, you're saving money. I know that companies will charge tens of thousands of dollars to make apps, and maybe they won't even be good, who knows. It'd also be good work and experience for students. It's something perfect for their portfolio, saying that you designed an app that all the students at your college use. That's invaluable. Because they're students and they're designing it for themselves, they'll be experts at what they want out of a mobile app. And it'll get them and their friends involved to say, hey, I helped develop this app for Rick. Maybe I'll tell my friends about it. So that's it about the apps. I forwarded Dr. Kane a creepy Marine recruitment email. It was like, hello, Patrick Hurd. You as a computer science major want to join the military or something. And I thought that was totally a breach of my privacy by knowing literally anything about me. So I forwarded that to Dr. Kane, and he recently got back to me saying that I was looking into it. And he went over things that the college does share and that the college doesn't share. And your major is one of those that doesn't share. So I trust that he'll really investigate that. I also want to say that I love the idea of 4-hour meetings. The last 4-hour meeting I remember was Unsatisfied, maybe 3 years ago. I was filming it, just like he loved his filming this meeting. Yeah, it was great. I loved it. We haven't had one of those in a while, but I encourage you all to speak long and speak proud and represent your constituents. And that's all for my issues. Now move on to Vice President Bain.
So we're going to get no puddles. It's Saturday this time. But just so we're all on the same page, take a picture of that puddle and send it to me. I'll make sure somebody gets it and hopefully it will be fixed. Also, I got that same email from the recruiter, Marine recruiter. It was really weird. It came out of nowhere. I'm not sure why they want my email, my information, because I have no interest in that. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Deputy Speaker Alvin Sears.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, just a couple of things. Number one, issue brought up by one of our esteemed colleagues in regards to puddles and trying to avoid wet socks. And, those are very important issues, and I can assure you that the Conditions and Services Committee will be, in fact, doing a thorough walk around once we have our meeting. We'll set up a date, and we'll take a picture of every puddle and wet sock on campus, rest assured. Secondly, I think some of you may remember my impassioned speech last semester before break regarding the drivers throughout the parking lots. I see that, well, I shouldn't say I see, because I didn't see, the speed bumps that were placed up and down the cut-through drive there, this college road. Yeah, they don't help. And they don't help mostly because people can't see them. I know we've addressed this last time. However, even if you paint them, that's something I'm looking into. However, this time I wanted to speak about the little club cars, the little club cars that drive around for maintenance. They also drive pretty recklessly. I noticed. The other day I was walking to class and one of them went full-fledged into a trash can right outside of the Donovan Dining Center. And the noise hit me. I've never heard any noise like that before in my life. It sounded awful. It was just metal on metal, just boom, it was bad. And thirdly, I also received the message from the Marines asking me to enlist. And while I give our soldiers, United States military, a lot of credit, and I thank them for what they do, and God bless them. I think that it's an effective way to boost recruitment. However, I just don't think I'd be serving anyone any justice if I was to enlist. But I respect them, and God bless them, and that concludes my issues.
Thank you. President Rosario.
So I have a couple more things, guys. I apologize, but they're important. So during the Inclusive Excellence Listening Tour that the President had, I had the opportunity to attend, and I just want to make this body aware that we discussed a lot about making our students feel comfortable on campus and making sure that we are being transparent back and forth so that students and faculty and staff and admin are engaging in conversation. A big point was that there are a lot of policies that do not protect our students right now that we need to be working on. So within the next few months, Peggy Lynch is kind of working on policy changes with providing leaves for students who are parenting or who are pregnant, and kind of different things that we are really lacking as an institution and we should be moving forward with. So I wanted to acknowledge that. I also wanted to state that when we were on our way to the gala, the campus shuttle driver did not know how to operate the wheelchair. And did not actually get out of his seat to even try to help operate the lift. And the president's family had to carry the wheelchair onto the shuttle as I climbed the steps. So I just wanted to make this body aware that we have technology that either is not accessible to people or people just aren't being trained. So, yeah.
Thank you. Representative Video.
Well, I just wanted to give a little report from my constituents. So I am in a class right now called Civic Engagement with a bunch of seniors and juniors. I brought up a topic of discussion, and we continued it later on, about what SCG can do to reach students and also get students more involved in SCG, because again, our numbers are dwindling. And they threw out a bunch of really interesting ideas. Some of them are far-fetched, like they want cupcakes at all the meetings, and they also want every student who comes to campus to be automatically enrolled in SCG, which I thought was interesting. And then I thought maybe instead of that, we could enroll students in, open up more seats and enroll students in college and SCG committees. So maybe not every student who comes to RIG gets automatically enrolled, but making those opportunities more available. In our club, in the Anchors meeting today, Taylor very casually mentioned that any student could serve on a college committee, and 3 students actually filled out, or 2 students filled out. You gave away 3 of them, filled out forms to join college committees. So I think hopefully the PR committee does its best to promote those opportunities and get kids to join those committees, but hopefully I'll be bringing more ideas to the body as a whole as to how to get people more involved as we talk about it more in my class.
Thank you. Next on the list is me again. I got off track talking about the app, and I didn't finish my Student Union Advisory Board update. Kristen Salami mentioned that there'd be kind of reorganizing all the student resources into one major thing, and she mentioned that there would be a new vice president in charge of that. She also mentioned, well, we decided that a calendar in the cafe for student organization events and meetings would be a good idea. So that's something that we're going to implement allegedly. I mentioned some of the historic complaints about this student union, such as the size of it being the smallest in square footage per student. The student union was designed for around 2,500 students, and we've far surpassed that amount. Also mentioned that this room is being used as a classroom, and that's not what your student union fee is supposed to be used for. And also, because it's used as a classroom, it's not used as a club room, so clubs cannot book this room. They also cannot book 306 for meetings and events, and that's something that directly impacts clubs that the board and now you know about. So that's all for my second issue. Now we move on to Representative Inman.
Okay, quick thing, just because I don't know what I'm doing. How does one go about putting forward an agenda item for the next meeting?
With the president.
Information, yes. So you would submit via email what you would want your agenda item to be, and if you were going to do a resolution or need to attach anything to the agenda, it needs to be sent to me by close of business. Close of business on Friday,
Okay, thank you.
3 p.m.
Representative Newman, is that all for your issue?
That was all, thank you.
Thank you. Representative Alvarez.
So since the speed humps have been installed on campus, many students have complained that they're very hard to see, and they would like to know if there's a way to make them more visible at night or more effective, because many students find that they're not very effective. That is all.
Thank you. Are there any further issues of Parliament members? Hearing no further issues, I am seeking a motion to adjourn. Motion from Vice President Dane, second from Representative Video. There's no discussion on adjournment. We now move to a vote. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Abstentions? With that, we are adjourned. Please stay silent and seated while Ms. Stachowiak does roll call.
Jose Rosario.
Here.
Taylor James. Lori Cepeda. Here. Thomas Lima.
Here.
Patrick Hurd.
Here.
David Olden Sears. Leandro Alvarez.
Here.
Jeremy Rubin. Luisa DeVidio.
Here.
Gabrielle Enright. Here. Shane Inman.
Here.
Vanessa Ruggieri. Scott Keen.
Here.
Michelle Brophy Behrman.
Here.
Alan Salemi. Nicholas Lima.
Thank you.